كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وبعد. Alhamdulillah. Today will be just our last tafsir halaqah, because inshallah ta'ala this weekend, inshallah Friday night will be the first of Ramadan. So we'll focus on Ramadan programming for the next month, inshallah ta'ala, and then afterwards, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, we will continue. We'll close this series so far with continue again. We stopped at ayah number 13 of Surah Al-Baqarah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about the munafiqeen. And from ayah number 14 to ayah number 17, the dialogue continues about the munafiqeen, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا لَقُوا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قَالُوا آمَنَّا وَإِذَا خَلَوْا إِلَى شَيَاطِينِهِمْ قَالُوا إِنَّ مَعَكُمْ إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُسْتَهْزِئُونَ. That one of the things that the munafiqeen, the hypocrites, they did was whenever they would be with the believers, they would say, we believe. And that means that whenever they're around them, they're just reassuring them that we are with you, we've adopted faith, we believe in this Islam. And again, the munafiqeen, this happened in Medina, right? So this is when Islam has established itself. The Prophet ﷺ and the community is well established, and there are some people who are pretending to be Muslim. Some of them are, in their heart of hearts, complete disbelievers. Others, there's levels of the munafiqeen, right? There's others who are, they've accepted this because they've seen this force of, of Islam now come and get settled, and so it's advantageous. There's something they can recognize some good about it, and they have some doubts and things like that. So there's different levels of the munafiqeen. But this group is the one that is a complete disbeliever, right? So when they meet the believers, they say we believe, but when they're alone with their evil ones, with their shayateen, and this is a reference to the leaders of the hypocrites, they say, we are really with you, we are only mocking. We're pretending, we're making a joke out of these people, right? And so with the Muslims, they would show that they are Muslims, and then they would go back into their little groups and they would talk about how, we did this and we did that and so on and so forth, but they're plotting against the Muslims, right? They're plotting against the Muslims in their small groups, but in public they appear to be Muslims. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Allahu yastahzi'u bihim wa yamudduhum fi tughyanihim ya'bahun, that in reality it is Allah who is mocking them and allowing them more time to wander blindly in their rebellion. And so Allah Azza wa Jalla, the mocking that will be done to them is in this life, when they pretend to be Muslim, in their public life they have to behave like a Muslim. So if it's Ramadan and they're hungry, they can't eat in front of the Muslims, right? They have to pay in zakat. They have to show up to the masjid for salah. So they're making all these sacrifices and they're pretending to be Muslim, but then Allah Azza wa Jalla on the Day of Judgment is not going to give them any reward, obviously, for any of that, because they didn't really believe in it. They didn't really do it out of faith. And so that is Allah Azza wa Jalla's mocking of them, that they're pretending to be Muslims, thinking they're fooling them, but they're having to do all of this effort and all of this work, and in the end they get absolutely nothing out of it whatsoever. أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ اشْتَرَوُا الضَّلَالَةَ بِالْهُدَىٰ فَمَا رَبِحَتْ تِجَارَتُهُمْ وَمَا كَانُوا مُهْتَدِينَ. And that's why He says those are the people that have purchased or traded error in exchange for guidance, right? They've made a trade here, right? They've traded misguidance in place of guidance. And so their trade brought them no profit whatsoever, and they are not at all upon the right way. And then He gives two examples, and inshallah maybe after the month of Ramadan we'll talk about these examples. But the first example is of the hypocrite who is a complete disbeliever, and the second one are those that are in some doubt, right? Whenever He says whenever there is light they walk, and whenever it's dark they stop. So there's different levels of the munafiqeen as well. But again, just from these ayat, a thing to remember, when you look at the Muslim world and all the things that are happening in the Muslim world, right, and all the things that affect the Muslim world, that Allah Azza wa Jalla gives us this guidance because there will always be these types of people that are found amongst the community of the Muslimin, right? And so internationally, nationally, locally, whatever it may be, there will always be people that actually come and, to our faces, they will say, we are with you, we support you, so on and so forth. But they have their little private groups they go to because they're actually plotting against us. And we have to be mindful of this. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposes some of their behavior, but He tells us the reality of these people, that you don't have to worry about them. You have to deal with them, you do what you have to do, but in the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that's going to take care of them. So either they will meet their fate in this dunya and the next life, or if they get away with it here, then they will meet their fate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the next life. But we should not be so naive to think that there are not people that want to cause us harm, right? We should not be so naive as to think that there are not people there that actually intend us harm. And the Prophet ﷺ in the Quran also gives more details about them and their behaviors. And you can start to, recognize patterns in their behavior that these are not the kinds of people that are necessarily doing us benefit. And then we have ways to deal with that. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to strengthen the body of the Muslimin. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to bring this month of Ramadan upon us in peace, inshaAllah ta'ala. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to elevate the status of our brothers and sisters who are suffering in this month of Ramadan. And remember, this is a time to make dua for them as well. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to accept all our ibadah. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.